And good afternoon. Hello, Liam. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's great to have Liam. So I just want to introduce Liam to our audience. Well, first and foremost, this is coming from Sundog AI Consulting. We're sort of like hosting this, and we've got the privilege to have Liam Browne of Full Power Cacao, who has agreed to be on our podcast. So brilliant. So I'll just dive right in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so Liam, thanks so much for joining us. And can you just explain, give us a little bit of a background and introduction to who you are and how you started with your enterprise?
So yeah, my name's Liam Browne. I'm founder, CEO, to Bugs Body sometimes of
Yeah.
Full Power Cacao. I created it back in 2021, but really it was kind of it was pretty much seeded in 2012 when I met the cacao shaman in Guatemala. I was kind of on a spiritual quest or a healing journey, or actually a suicide journey. I didn't know what it was, but I was so depressed and messed up at the time that I'd kind of like given myself a 3 year deadline to either find something worth living for or check out, because my mental health was I just wasn't enjoying
Yeah.
life,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But it was a big transition, and everything that happened was exactly how it should have happened. So I was on this kind of spiritual pilgrimage in Guatemala for the end of the Mayan calendar, and I was, at that time, I was willing to basically try anything to find a purpose or find something that made me feel happy in the world. And yeah, so I was on this pilgrimage with all these healers and going to all these sacred sites, doing a lot of healing work. And my aim really was to go and do ayahuasca in Peru at the end of this journey, to sort of have a real kind of cleanse, and like that's what I kind of like had my target set on with that trip that I was on, because I was away for something like, I don't know, 9 months, and I actually didn't have any intention of coming back to the UK. I was
Okay.
hoping to find somewhere to live away from the pressures of the UK.
Yeah.
And then yeah, basically I stumbled across this guy, and he said, "Oh, you should go to the to this cacao shaman."
Okay.
And I was like, "Nah, man, I need something a bit stronger than like," because he told me it was like chocolate, and I was like, "Nah, man, I need something
No, you
stronger
need
than
some
chocolate."
peyote or something. Yeah.
Chocolate to sort my shit out. Yeah, some peyote or some ayahuasca, iboga, ibogaine, something like. And yeah, so I just went and like sat with this shaman, learned all about cacao and the healing history of it, the way it was used indigenously by the Mayans, the Toltecs, the Olmecs, the Aztecs, the Incas, and how it was a pivotal part of their societies. And how they used it and how they practiced with it as a healing modality. And the thing is that why it's not as popular as or as well known, especially in sort of like the 60s resurgence of like this hippie awakening that kind of got
Yeah.
suppressed a lot, is
Yeah.
because it's psychoactive, it's not psychedelic. So it
Right.
allows it
Okay.
allows a deep healing journey to take place. However, you're not gonna, unless you are capable of, having those kind of
Experiences.
experiences, or
Yeah.
like mild hallucinations. Well, you don't
Right.
even call them hallucinations. Seeing beyond the veil, basically. Some people I
Right.
know can do that. Some
Yeah.
people I can't do that. I see things occasionally, but it's very, very rare for me. Thankfully, because I'm quite cocky as it is. So if I saw all that other shit, I'd be even more cocky. Do you
You
know what I
be
mean? So thankfully, God didn't bless me with that, because then
with that.
everybody else
Yeah.
would know about it all the time. So yeah, so it's psychoactive. It allows you to go on as deep a journey as you want with the that happens with the other plant medicines, but it's basically on your terms. Whereas with the other plant medicines, that is not on your terms. You're gonna get taken on a journey, and if you wanted to stop, I'm afraid it's not gonna stop until it's finished with you.
Wow.
So it's just a really nice mild plant medicine. And
Yeah.
then obviously from that moment, it wasn't like, oh, I found my thing and I had a target with it. Not at all. Like, it didn't actually become the main part of my life until 2020. So 8 years later, where it was like, I had cacao. I was a yoga teacher. I was a spiritual
Okay.
teacher.
Yeah.
I was already doing this stuff, and I was incorporating cacao into things that I did and doing little cacao ceremonies.
Yeah.
And then 2020 happened, and I started putting on these ceremonies, and they kept selling out and selling out. And then somebody asked me to train them and teach them how to hold cacao ceremonies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've just created something off observing other people and added my
Yeah.
own little flavor to it over a number of years.
Yeah.
Um, and she was like, "No, your lineage is back to the cacao shaman in Guatemala. His name's actually Keith." And she went, "You've
Okay.
got the strongest lineage out of anybody who's doing this. Like, he's the guy, like, who brought it all back." And I was like, "All right." And I kind of like, I sort of knew that, but I'd never give it any
Well,
sort of
yeah.
reverence in my
Yeah.
brain. And so I had a mate, and I was like, "Bro, like, this woman's asked me to train her, and she knows other people that want me to train her. I don't know what I'm doing." He was like, "Okay, I'll come and watch you." So he came and watched, and he was like, he said, basically, bro, he said, "There's like, because he writes courses, and he was
Okay.
like, there's so much to what you do. You're just unconsciously competent, and we need to bring you into the consciously competent realm."
Right.
So we basically sat together every week for a couple of hours, created this course. He basically pulled everything out of my mind about why each aspect's done when it is,
Yeah.
all the history of it, everything basically we pulled into this training course. And that's still the foundations of the training course that I use today.
Okay.
And then obviously during this period and then starting to train people, I was like, actually, I want to find a cacao that's aligned with me and aligned with the energy, and I want to create have a cacao to sell to my clients. And then obviously then when I get on something, I'm like, actually, let's create the biggest cacao brand that's ever that in the world. And
Brilliant.
because Keith actually in his ceremonies he would also often say cacao is going to take over from coffee by 2032 as the number one morning drink on the planet. And I
Okay.
was like, when I would thinking that, and pretty much everything that Keith said has come true so far. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
because he basically told people, go and just start cacao brands, start spreading the message of cacao,
Yeah.
start getting people to drink cacao because it's changing people's vibration. It's a superfood. It's got so many magical chemicals and
Yeah.
nutrients
Yeah.
and aspects to it that
That was, yeah, that
everybody
was
should be
my
drinking.
next, yeah, that was my next question. Just to sort of to get back to basics.
Yeah.
What exactly is cacao? If you're talking to a complete layman, what exactly is it? What
So
how
basically,
yeah.
well, not nowadays because chocolate in the supermarket doesn't even contain any chocolate or cacao anymore.
No,
Most of it
so
is
yeah,
just
all
like seed
additives.
oils and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's been artificially manufactured. But historically, your chocolate would come from cacao. Yeah,
Right.
typically it would come from African cacao, which is not as
Yeah.
strong because it's not indigenous to Africa. It's just
Okay.
basically cacao can be grown anywhere 20 degrees either side of the equator, but it's
Okay.
indigenous to Central and South America. Yeah.
Yeah.
The cacao that you would find in your chocolate bar back in the day would mainly be from a strain of the plant called the Forastero, which is
Okay.
your heartiest, but also your less potent. So it's not got as many energetic qualities. It's nutritional
Right.
benefits in terms of like its iron, magnesium, flavonoid, its antioxidant content. So cacao is the world's richest source of antioxidants. It's got 15
Oh
times more
wow.
antioxidants than blueberries per serving.
Excellent.
Because
Oh wow.
everybody thinks blueberries is the main thing
Well,
for
blueberry,
antioxidants.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
blueberries is rich, but obviously cacao has got,
fifteen times more,
there's
man.
different
So it's
levels.
like, yeah, heart health. It's amazing for the magnesium, the iron. It's it up because it's still got a stimulant like coffee.
Yeah.
It's not got caffeine. It's not a caffeine stimulant. It's basically got trace amounts of caffeine in it, trace amounts,
Okay.
but it's got a real high high percentage of a chemical called theobroma, which is
Okay.
kind of caffeine's cousin sort of thing, but
Okay.
it's a nicer, gentler cousin that
Right.
it still gives you stimulation, but it allows you to be creative,
Right.
inspired, centered, whatever you're doing. If you're meditating, you're more focused.
Perhaps without the nervous kind of energy or
Yeah,
the
so
nervous stimulation.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have that anxiety
Yeah.
jitteriness that coffee
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
It's got
Yeah.
a very calming sort of whatever you're doing. If you're going raving with cacao, like you want to go out partying, you're
Yeah.
focused on that. You're gonna have a great time. If you're
Yeah.
focused on doing some inner work and meditation and yoga or journaling or
Excellent
writing,
as well.
it
Yeah.
allows you to be more in. It just allows you to be more present in whatever you're doing, rather than
Okay.
having these scattered thoughts and stuff.
Brilliant, brilliant. So,
Yeah,
so you've got a great natural product. It's got a lot of nutrients. It's got,
yeah,
a lot of very unique kind of attributes and everything. So obviously you had to sort of like to take that product, you turn into a sort of like an institution, into a business entity. You were
yeah.
talking about training. So what would you say was some of your, it must have been quite a journey at the beginning, sort of like kickstarting that. What were some of the challenges that you met?
I don't know because I did it so organically, really. I used to sell ecstasy and fabric in London. Like I
Oh,
used to make
wow.
loads of
Okay.
money. I used to make a lot of money selling drugs. So it's kind of like just it's basically a legal way of doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Okay.
like business wise, it's like you
Yeah.
buy some, you sell it for more than you bought it for, you make
Right.
sure your overheads aren't too much. And
Okay.
like even now with, we work with Peter Jones's team every day,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's
Yeah,
kind of
of
like,
course. I wanted to come to that. Yeah, I saw your website. Can you give us a little, give the audience a little sort of like, because it's that's quite a that's quite a what's the word? That's a great achievement, isn't it? Getting through all the noise and coming in front of that panel. Could you just give us a brief of how you got there and how what happened?
well, it was, the business was doing was doing really well for
Yeah.
me. It was the most money I'd ever made in my life already. I was
Okay.
like, it was doing really well just basically from zero advertising. I'd never spent a pound on ads until Dragon's Den.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were still doing 15K a month in sales,
Wow.
which was pretty good. And then one of
That's
my
not
mates said, "Oh,
bad.
you should go on Dragon's Den." And I was like, "I've not even watched it for like 15 years." I was like,
Right. Are they
and he,
still around?
yeah, and I was like, "Is Duncan still on it?" And then
Yeah.
my mate pestered me a little bit, and I went, "Bro, like, send me the link, make it as easy
Yeah.
as possible for me, and I'll
Yeah.
just smash it out when I get a chance." And I
Yeah.
didn't like dilute the spiritual side of it or anything.
Yeah.
I just went bang, 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 gave him
This is it.
everything,
Yeah.
and just left it up to the universe, whatever. And then, then you go through all this kind of rigmarole of getting on the show. They
Yeah.
tell you, even like the week before they say it's getting aired, they went, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get aired. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
yo, I knew mine was going to get aired. I was super confident.
Yeah.
I was confident when I went on it. I had, there was a tiny little bit of nerves at the beginning when you
Yeah.
have to do, because
Which
you
is
pitch.
natural. Yeah.
Well,
Which
you
is
pitch. No,
natural. Yeah.
it was basically because the pitch is scripted. So you have to learn your pitch,
Yeah.
and they kind of sign your pitch off, and then everything else that happens in the den then is very organic. But obviously,
Okay.
you have to learn. They want your pitch to be strong, and they want you to
Yeah.
learn it. They want to make
Definitely.
sure that it's
They want it
not.
to have it's got to have entertainment value, but then at the same time, it's got to be sort of like functional for
Yeah,
they want good business, right? They're there for
yeah,
business.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then obviously then when you go into the sort of back and forth with the dragons, I'd basically just done a load of mindset exercises on myself where I was kind of going in with the fact that I'm giving them an opportunity. They're not giving me an opportunity.
Yeah.
BBC's giving me the opportunity. Like, I'm
Yeah.
giving them an opportunity
Yeah.
because I know where this product's going. I know where my
Yeah.
business is going. And literally, they still. I astound Peter Jones's team nearly every week. They're like, "How the fuck have you done that? Like,
Yeah.
how'd you pull that off?" And I'm just like, because I'm going places, and you're gonna be surprised how this is
Yeah.
gonna in sort of 7 years. This is probably gonna be your most successful ever investment, and I'm
Brilliant.
confident about that.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. So obviously you're working with them. You don't have to divulge, the intricacies, but you're there with them. You're there with Peter Jones's team and his kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're amazing. Like I have daily access to them. Work with
excellent.
Gary Neville as well. Gary Neville's one of my investors,
Wow, excellent.
and he's really good. He's great, but it's Peter Jones has got the sort of the structure in place that he has a team
Yeah.
that sort of totally deal with you and support
Yeah.
you in any decisions, and they kind of want to know the ins and outs, and they want to know that it's doing well because
Yeah.
we're just about to we've just set up a US entity, so we're just going over into the US from the 1st of May. We go live. We get the keys to our US factory on the 1st of May, and then we're hoping to kind of go live by the end of May in terms of like actually start selling products.
That is incredible. That is an incredible story. That's
Yeah,
incredible. And then, going on to that kind of like fits in nicely to the marketing side of things because obviously the US, I mean, it's a massive market. I know of
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's a massive market. It's a really great market, and you're going to be there. And I know America being America, there's always going to be people. what's your landscape like with your competitors in terms of cacao? Is it something that's a little bit? I wouldn't have imagined it would be so saturated, would it?
Since I was on Dragons Den, the UK market especially is there's a lot of people kind of jumped on the
Oh,
bandwagon,
right.
which is amazing because,
Yeah.
like I always say,
It gives them awareness, right?
yeah, and my mission was not to be like my mission is to be the most successful cacao brand, but that is not because nobody else has got my story. You know,
Exactly. You're
nobody else
unique. Yeah.
can
Yeah.
compete with my story. Even in Dragon's Den, Stephen
Yeah.
Bartlett was like, "What stops me replicating this?" I went, "You ain't got me."
That's true.
I went, "You haven't got anybody with my story. You cannot just create a founder story. People want the founder story now. They want to, get into your head, know where it's all come from." And I'm really confident that, and I can do it. I'm confident. I can stand in front of people. I can go and meet people of all walks of life, of,
Yeah.
a billionaire and a pauper. I can have a,
You can talk to them. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
I can
skill. It's not
communicate.
everybody that can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like for me, it's like I'm really confident, and but my main thing is to raise the awareness of cacao. And when I first started my business, if you get to go on my Instagram or something, there's like the first video of the launch party that I did, and I said basically I'm here to come and take over the scene, but not at the detriment to any other cacao brands.
Right.
Actually, to lift everybody up so the
Yeah.
awareness grows so massively.
Yeah.
And I know that in the UK, basically every other cacao brand's sales went up 40% after I went on Dragon's Den because a team that I work with who do all the analytics showed it me. So I was like, and I only got one thank you.
Oh dear.
But same in America, we're going to do the same thing in the States. I'm going to raise the awareness for
Yeah.
everybody to sort of piggyback off me. I know other cacao brands, they go, people are like, what is it? It's like, the one that was on Dragons, then they go, oh yeah. And
Oh,
it's
that
like, they
guy.
use it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, and
It's
they're
like
like, you
you've
don't
got.
mind, do you? I was like, no, it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
That's
amazing. Do
brilliant.
whatever you need to do.
Okay. So what would you say that I mean obviously you want to raise awareness and everything like that, what would you say is the core mission of your company of full
The core
cacao? What's
mission
your core mission? Yeah.
is to awaken human potential,
Right.
which is what the mission of cacao is. The mission of Laid Cacao, the spirit of cacao, is
Yeah.
to awaken people to their life purpose, to the innate possibilities and magnificence that is inside each and every human being. And how do we do that? One of the tools and skills is by awakening like the collective human consciousness into the understanding of cacao and how it can be used to benefit each person. Do you know what I mean? And then, the whole thing behind that as well is to have a system of like programs and there's going to be a whole kind of like the full power path
Support
almost. It's going to
system
be
type of
yeah,
thing.
there's going to be where full power cacao is kind of like the thing that gets us there, and then there's something that comes above that that really supports people on their journey to financial freedom, spiritual freedom, relationship freedom. It's all about getting people to step into their their own personal magnificence and greatness, which is within everybody. I'm not operating at anywhere near 100% of my potential. I don't know anybody really that is.
No,
And it's like, how
absolutely.
do we keep incrementally stepping towards that? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it can be like 0.01% at a time, but over a vast period of time, that's getting you somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That's really interesting. So what would you say is like working really well? Obviously, you're just moving to America. You've got a great team, very professional, good brand, so to speak, that's working
Yeah.
alongside you. What would you say? I know obviously there's a lot of organic kind of growth that you're talking about, but then obviously there's proper business sense going on in terms of operations, in terms of, where you want to be, in terms of strategy. What would you say, Liam, is working really well for you at the moment?
In terms of marketing, meta ads and our email list are the two biggest things that we do.
Right.
Um, we're trying to diversify that a little bit. But currently, yeah, meta ads, which we're just going to rinse and repeat in the US, which is dead
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously, um, the email list is not going to be there in the States, so we're going to have to start to develop that.
Yeah.
So literally, we're just trying to find any opportunities for me to be in the public eye in the
Yeah.
States,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is always the biggest thing for any business. If I can get on a TV
Yes.
show or I can get on something,
Exposure.
apparently I can't go on Shark Tank because I'm not a US citizen.
All right. Okay. Oh,
But
that's a pity.
who knows? I might be a US citizen in the next few years. And I think there is some similar shows that they have in the States that
Okay.
you don't have to particularly be a citizen to go
Right.
on. You just have to have a US based business. So we're
Okay.
just kind of like I've got a team over there already.
Oh, brilliant.
They've done a couple of shows with the like events like serving the cacao, iced
Yeah.
cacao,
Yeah.
hot
Yeah.
cacao,
Okay.
which has gone really well. And that it's just building that team in the States now, and I've got a really good set of people that I trust that are gonna be running it for me.
Okay. Great.
And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to spend quite a bit of time in Florida.
Unfortunately, that is that is convincing. That unfortunately, oh, brilliant! Oh, that's great. Things are
Yeah,
looking really up. So I know. Let me just flip that coin a little bit. So what would you
yeah.
say that obviously every business we have challenges, some frustrations. What sort of like areas do you feel that perhaps okay, like how do you get through what are the challenges that you might feel that you encounter when you're trying to reach your ideal customers, when you're sort of like trying to reach people out there? What type of I wouldn't say well frustrations or challenges or what could go better? Let's say that. Let's put it in that particular way.
For us, with a lot of things, it's kind of like the chicken and egg scenario.
Yeah,
We want to expand into a certain place, but then we haven't got time to um, think about what that other role or the next hire is. So for us, it's always like we're trying to think about the next hire, but then because we're all so busy and like on it, and we're all fluxing from because we're a startup, we're all fluxing from one. We've not all nobody's got a specific role. So for us, it's
yeah,
about like where's the next hire coming from? When can we create the time to really focus on who that is? Because for us, like I know bringing a salesperson in would be the next big step, like someone dedicated to sales that's got a good track record, and then like because basically we have so many angles to get into. So someone said to me like, "Who is your ideal customer?" I'm like, "We don't have one. It's anybody with a mouth." I can tell you who our who our main customers are at the moment, which is kind of like women between the age of 30 and 55, like who are into the wellness or holistic.
yeah, yeah,
And also we've got, we can go into the gym people that want
yeah,
something that's high in protein, that's
yeah,
giving them a stimulation, that's got stem cell regeneration. We've got people who we're hitting with the mental health side of it because it's amazing for the cognition of the brain. It's
yeah,
oxygenating
yeah,
the brain. So we've got all these different angles to come at, but ultimately our main mission is we want cacao to be available wherever you can get tea and coffee at the moment. Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
our aim. So
Everybody
every
drinks
coffee shop,
coffee, right?
yeah, every
Everybody
coffee shop,
across the
every
board.
restaurant, every
Yeah,
hotel,
yeah,
every plane, every airport, like everywhere. Like that's the next movement for us is we're just creating these powders at the moment because
okay.
if you get our products at the moment, you have to make it. You have to like melt the cacao down
Yeah,
like in a pan or in like a milk frother or a
yeah,
velvetizer. And it's got a little bit of work to it. Whereas once we've just nearly signed off on these powders, where basically you just add milk, heat up,
yeah.
and it
Just like
has
you're making
perfect
instant coffee and stuff.
perfect
Yeah,
flavor, and it's
yeah.
still got the strength
Okay.
because our cacao is from the highest, most kind of like auspicious strain of the cacao plant,
Yeah, the
the
Venezuelan.
cacao
Yeah,
species.
yeah,
Like we've got all that nutritional benefits in
yeah,
it. So even when we're by making it into a powder, we're losing a little bit. However, we're then getting into more people because there's almost like a what do you call it, a block or a pain point where
right.
people aren't like Gary Neville. He's like when you've got a powder, I'm all over it. He went, but I ain't standing there and making it in a pan.
And making
You know
it
what
and
I mean?
waiting all that time. Yeah. So
Gary
you've
Neville
got to.
doesn't like
Yeah.
pans.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's brilliant. So, I mean, like, what would you say? Um, oh, what am I talking? Sorry. Yeah. So, what would you say in terms of you've talked about metrics. So, what? So, like, which metrics are you most focused on improving when it comes to this kind of like reaching out? Have you thought about AI in any of your marketing and? you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, we've got
Must-
we're currently looking at quite a few AI things
Yeah,
for customers and bots, like things that FAQs and stuff that we can be on
yeah.
the website, which makes just our customer service team's life a little bit easier. But also, yeah, in terms of like we've got a team working on something for us at the moment that is going to be more towards marketing and sales, especially with wholesale as well. Once we have the powders ready.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. Okay, that sounds good. So let's just say that this is what I call the sort of like the magic wand question. The magic watch question. So looking ahead, where do you want full power cacao to be in 6 or 12 months from now?
6 or 12 months, I want us to be obviously up and running, established in the US, and my target actually is for the US to be outdoing the UK in terms of
Right.
sales
Well,
within
it's a
two.
bigger market, isn't it? And it's
I
probably
think
got
it should
probably
be. I
more
think it should
potential.
take
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, the US market is 20 times as big as the
Well,
UK
yeah,
market.
that's it. Of course. Yeah.
So, and you know, California, which is, everybody in California has been spiritual for 30 years, whereas
Yeah.
it's only kind of just.
So they've got a bit of a head start, haven't they, over
Yeah,
the over
you've
the
got a lot
UK?
of, Austin, Texas, Portland,
Yeah.
most of California, New York, there's Florida, there's other places where there is already this awareness and already quite easy for us to target our ads in them specific places and for it to do really well. And apparently, when I was over there, they went, "Oh yeah, you're going to do great because Americans like just have more trust for English people than they do for American people."
Yeah, it's the accent. I remember when I used to go over there, as soon as I hear the accent, they're kind of blown away. It's really good.
It's crazy, but if they knew where I was from, they wouldn't.
Well, yeah, don't have to tell them that. Yeah. No, that's brilliant. That's really good. So, I mean, I know that, that's, quite insightful. Thanks for sharing your story, your journey, and everything like that. So, I know that you're talking about marketing, you're talking about getting out there, you're talking about you did mention one of the things, I mean, apart from the sort of like the sales and the marketing, which is quite, I don't want to say it's generic because it's crucial, it's critical to every business.
Yeah,
If you can't reach out to people, that's critical to every business. But you did also mention about working, wearing many hats and this and that. And what I tend to think, I don't know, I could be wrong, I probably am wrong, but what I tend to think is that where many people wear many hats, there's a kind of like an operational thing that could get faster and more efficient. You're
yeah,
talking about bringing other people on in terms of marketing and sales, and I know that we have solutions where AI solutions could sort that out, definitely. you know
okay,
and you would just you would just step back. You'd be, I mean, as the CEO, you'd step back, you'd see a holistic kind of thing. So I don't know what I was thinking, that if you had 10, 15 minutes next week, we could just go through just slightly deeper dive. I've already
yeah,
very good kind of overview of what you're doing, where you want to go. I know the team could prepare something. Definitely, they could do it now. But
okay,
I think it would be good if we just had a sort of like a 15-minute discovery call. Would that be good?
yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And
Fantastic, Luke.
it'd be best with my marketing guy as well because
Yes.
he
So
just
you're
he
both of
understands a lot more of it than I do.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is that, what's the time now? Oh,
It's
it's
half two just gone.
yeah. What would 2 o'clock this time next week be good?
I'm away. The only
Oh,
day, the only day I can do next week is one second, is the Monday,
okay.
Monday the 13th. Otherwise, it would be. If you can't do Monday the 13th, I can do it at some point while I'm away. It's not a
No, no, no.
problem.
Let's do it when you're settled. Because I know I was in Bucharest last week. I was trying to do calls, it just didn't work. It was just like
Yeah.
my mind was distracted. I was like, yeah, but yeah, we could. I've got a 2 o'clock on Monday. I know I've got a 2 o'clock on Monday, but aside from that, I think I can shift most of the other things.
Yeah,
What time?
send me a couple of options for the Monday.
Yeah,
I'd say like as late afternoon as possible.
yeah, that's fine. I could do 4:35. No worries.
Yeah, 4:30 would be good.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
4:30. I'll put that as a placeholder, and I'll pump you through. You
Yeah,
know.
that'd be cool. Yeah, because I'm traveling back from Glasgow and I won't be
Okay.
back till quite late. So I've just
Okay.
moved. I had a meeting on Monday morning. I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to be back from Glasgow till about 2 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Oh wow. Okay. Wow, Liam, it's been great. I'm gonna I'm gonna stop the recording
Cheers,
now.
Matt.
Yeah,
Nice one.
don't jump off just yet.
Okay.
It's gonna upload. But brilliant. Thanks so much. All right.